A long, long time ago, a brave man known as Robin Hood lived with his band of merry men in Sherwood Forest near the town of Nottingham. The evil sheriff of Nottingham considered him an outlaw, but in truth, he was a faithful subject of King Richard, the Lion-Hearted. This is the story of Rob of Locksley. While still a young man, Rob's father was falsely imprisoned by the sheriff of Nottingham and died before ever proving his innocence. The sheriff was a greedy man who used his authority to steal land and money from his subjects. Rob's mother died soon after, most likely of a broken heart. Rob went to live with relatives and passed his time exploring the forest he had loved since childhood. He became quite expert with the bow and arrow. One day, Rob heard of an archery tournament to be held in Nottingham. I will enjoy matching my skills against the others, he thought as he started off for town. As chance would have it, along the way Rob encountered the very same scoundrel who had conspired against his father. This time he attacked Rob, but proved no match for the young man. Rob's arrow found its mark, and in a cruel twist of fate, Rob became an outlaw. The sheriff's men were looking everywhere for Rob as he continued on to the tournament in a disguise. After easily defeating all the other competitors, Rob was awarded the prize by his childhood friend, Maid Marian. She knew of his troubles and was determined to help him escape to safety. "Congratulations, Rob in the Hood," she whispered so that no others could hear. From that day forward, Rob of Locksley became known throughout the land as Robin Hood. Forced to live in hiding, Robin Hood was soon joined by old friends and new alike. They took to their new life in the Sherwood Forest with great pleasure, always managing to escape the sheriff's traps. While the men practiced their skills with weapons, Robin decided to trick the sheriff while helping the poor townspeople at the same time. True, Robin was an outlaw, but he was to become a hero to those in need. At last the men of the Sherwood Forest were ready. Well aware of the sheriff's greed, Robin easily lured him to the edge of the wood, offering livestock for sale. The sheriff, thinking he could cheat a simple herdsman, set off at once. Instead, the sheriff was surrounded by Robin's band, who took his money before silently disappearing into their forest hideout. The money was returned to the poor, while the sheriff's men searched in vain for Robin Hood. Jubilant by their success, the small band of outlaws staged similar attacks on the tax collectors and others, taking advantage of the hard-working families who struggled merely to survive. Robin Hood and his band of merrymen devoted their lives to stealing from the rich to give back to the poor. Their reward was simply the pleasure of outwitting the sheriff of Nottingham in this quest. Robin himself enjoyed some happiness after having lost his family and freedom so unjustly. And there was to be much more happiness for the good men of Sherwood. After many long years, King Richard the Lion-Hearted returned from the Crusades to take his rightful place on the throne. He was pleased and amused upon hearing the tales of Robin Hood. King Richard rewarded them with full pardons and positions in his court. The sheriff and his followers were banished. Land and property was restored to the rightful owners. Robin was given his father's land and title that had been illegally taken by the sheriff of Nottingham. At last, Robin and Marian were able to marry and begin a happy life in the service of King Richard.